And
Recording in
We're back.
progress.
Okay, so we've come out of executive session.
Motion to adjourn.
All that's left is a motion to adjourn. First,
Second.
Paul, John second. Any opposed? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good, we're adjourned. That brings us to our second to last meeting of the day. Jefferson County Civic Facility Development Corp., in on page 3. Been reviewed, motion to accept them, please.
so moved.
Dave first,
Second.
Ed second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries. Treasurer's report, page 5. A lot of changes there, Paul.
No transactions last month, but I want to ask Lyle one question about the aged receivables for the annual fees.
Yes,
They're all 30 to 60 days
every year.
every year?
Yeah. We send another round of invoices out and eventually they get paid.
That would be it.
Okay.
I'll move the treasurer's report.
A second, please.
Second. Oh, you got it.
I'll give it to Lisa. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Report carries. Page 8. Lisa, that's you again.
Okay. Well, the nominating committee met November 14th and proposed the slate of officers that is listed. Chair would be Rob, Vice Chair Bill, Treasurer would be Paul, and Secretary would be Ed. And that was the business of the meeting for that.
Okay, we have a resolution on page 9, Jefferson County Civic Facility Development Corp., Resolution 12.05.2024.01, election of officers, whereas a nominating committee met on November 14, 2024, and recommended the following slate of officers for the 2025 calendar year. Chairman Robert Elias Jr., Vice Chairman Honorary William W. Johnson, Treasurer Paul B. Warnick, Secretary W. Edward Waldrop, and this Board of Directors approves the slate of officers as set forth in this resolution. Paul's the first,
Second.
Lisa's the second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That resolution carries. Fee schedule, a little different this time, but I had one comment. The reissuance fee, is it, what was my comments? No, under the fee, for an excess of 10 million, the 0.25, is that in addition to the 1 or is it the total? So it's not 1.25, it's actually 1 for less than 10 and 0.25 for 10?
Yes.
Okay, I could have read it both ways.
Separate layers.
I could have read it both ways, but I assume that's what that meant. Any other comments from anyone?
There was a potential project in the hopper coming from what was healthcare.
Still is.
Is it still active?
It's on our agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The, so in this instance, the $750 annual fee, unlike the other ones, which were like $1,500, this is more than adequate because there's not as much administrative work.
Well, these are not for profits primarily that
Okay.
we're doing it for. So we did lower the fee because of that.
Okay. That's fair, I just, it's understanding the consistency. All right, we have a motion to accept the modified fee schedule.
So moved.
Dave? Paul? Any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? The fee schedule changes, and, you know, I don't have this resolution in my packet.
Neither did I.
Was it not in here?
It never came in.
Oh, so there is no resolution?
I don't know if Justin has an update. I don't know.
Oh, okay, because I'm like, gee, I see that, but I thought I was expecting new packet. So under new business, we have on our agenda a resolution for this advocate hospital holding, but it's not in our packet. Is it something? that we
I'm
can-
sorry, I'm here to two people.
Sorry, we have this authorizing resolution for advocate hospitals holding under new business, but it's actually not in our packet. Is it something that is prepared, or we need to kick it down to the next meeting?
Yeah, the next meeting, if at all, just as a bit of background,
Okay,
we hurried up and got the initial resolution adopted last month with the understanding that they would be working with Community Bank to get an updated, lending certificate that speaks to their financing. And that set up for an end of year closing, a very fast pace of activities where we would imagine get an approving resolution sent through the county board of legislators to authorize the bond issuance, have a temporary hearing, and then come to this meeting ideally with the bond resolution, and then next week the board of legislators adopting their approval, and then we'd be able to close by year end. What occurred though about 2 weeks ago is that they went into a bit of a back and forth with the lender, and they're not exactly sure if they want to pursue the tax exempt financing or just keep it as a commercial loan. So right now it's a bit up in the air, and we're trying to not spend too much time until they make a decision and create all the fees that they have to pay for the close. So to answer your question in a long way or a shorter way, if it comes back, it'll be next month. Yeah, best case.
Okay.
Might drop away.
so we'll defer it, and that leaves us with only any other new business?
So one last
Go
question.
ahead.
We collected a fee last month, right? For that? So if they drop it, we keep the fee, correct?
Correct.
Theoretically,
Non-refundable.
Yeah, well, what is that fee? It's like $500 or something?
$750?
Now,
500. Today, we just changed it to
Oh.
500.
Dang.
Yeah, and as a subject of the application.
We negotiated.
We discussed a little bit about increasing deposits. This is a great example of a project that gets wheeled up and then they change their mind. And you don't have any deposit to protect your legal fees or staff time. So $500, that was getting the application and reading it day one, probably. So I'm not sure, I didn't catch the latest iteration that you adopted for applications, and I'm not sure if this board is going to be enhancing its application in kind. But requiring deposits that are a little bit more meaningful are twofold. One, to protect your professionals that are working on matters that may just collapse. And also the requiring a good faith deposit that's somewhat substantial, 5 or 10 grand, tends to push away the prospectors. And this happens in the solar world and other places where people are just prospecting for approvals that may or may not ever close. Having a meaningful deposit in place can kind of help protect from a couple different things.
Well, I'm comfortable with the 2,500.
I mean, at this point, just for the hostels as one example, we get a $500 deposit, but probably on an order of 10 to 20x the legal fees spun up to now. And I don't want to go chase a not-for-profit and be mean, and neither does Marshall. So it's just something to think about.
Well, wait, did I understand that right, Justin? You're saying this project has already incurred that much in legal fees?
Yeah, we started a complex bond analysis, tax analysis, working with them on their underlying loans for refunding. It's not just the resolution when it hits your desk, there's a lot going on in the backdrop. And then they just kind of pumped the brakes and went silent about a week and a half ago. So we're kind of at this point where we hope it goes through this board and closes, but I think there's as much of a chance or more that they don't.
Okay.
You gotta stop that.
We already modified the fee schedule, so we can consider next month to modify again, using this as an example if it's a consideration. But I also, do we have a catch-all where legal fees really aren't intended to be the $500 deposit? I mean, I would think the $500 deposit is just kind of like for our staff time. I wouldn't think including legal fees in that.
Yeah, I mean, the $500 is just are you serious?
As Justin said, it's like him opening the envelope, the
Exactly.
application came
I
in,
know.
500 spent. I mean, okay, so we can discuss that next meeting.
Justin, do you have any clients that require escrow account for legal fees that are drawn against?
That's exactly what I'm talking about, when they submit the application. And across the board, between $5,000 and $20,000 checks are required when an application hits your door, in many of my clients. And practically speaking, how that works, like Cayuga and some others upstate, downstate, it's $20,000 for a straight lease in Westchester County. And it's either earned or not, and if the application dies, they'll get a refund of what was used.
Is that in their applications, that language?
Yeah, that's what I suggested. So instead of saying 5,000, let's say $500 in this case. And technically, this board, the Civic Facility Development Corp, has its own application. It's separate from the IDAs. So you can address that at this board differently than the other.
Could you
Or-
supply us with proposed language for an application to put that into effect, should the board deem it appropriate?
Yeah, and I suggested it when the drafts were going around last month. Instead of just saying $500, just say 5,000. 500 of which will be retained as earned the minute they submit, and then there's $4,500 sitting in your account to address any fees accrued. Just one example that scale.
Okay.
In some places, we go completely off script, where you have a major Aura scale solar project. We're doing one in Franklin, where the IDA said, well, okay, but we need $100,000 deposit to process this thing because it's a monster. And they did. They posted up those funds to make sure that appraisers, professionals, legal, everybody gets.
We do that every project,
Everybody gets paid and not left in the wind if they decide
100,000?
not to pursue the
not necessarily 100,000, it varies, but there's always an escrow account set up.
Well, we have 3 large solar projects coming that maybe we need to
Those
consider that.
more, the utility
If-
scale ones more concerned with regards to the community.
If they
stuff.
may have application
If
to
they
us.
do, I mean, again, we may never see another solar project for the next 5 years, quite frankly, we don't know. Who knows? I doubt it, not with this state. But,
And there's another one coming.
that's good.
Another one, large scale?
Yep.
Town line?
So
No.
we'll get the data and we can revisit the fee schedule again during the next board meetings if, the board wants to reconsider certain things. Motion to adjourn,
Yes.
Paul, second, anyone?
Second.
Ed, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're good. Move on to our last meeting, which I can shut up and listen now. Or leave.
Have a nice report. You running 2 phones now?
Yeah.
Jacob and Sarah, thank you very much for joining us on this one. We'll get started here in a second. Everybody's comfortable. Okay.
I think we're here. We'll call the Deferiet Redevelopment Corporation meeting to order, December 5th. We have minutes from the October 3rd meeting. Any questions, any comments, any revisions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I don't think we have any committee reports.
Nope.
Unfinished business. We've got an update on the Restore New York grant.
And we have Jacob, how do you pronounce it? Jacques?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And Sarah Bullock, who works with the town of Wilna, and joining us, and they're on our Deferiet Redevelopment Corporation board. Sarah is anyway. Jacob, you came, so you may just be now you're a part of the board, unfortunately, kind of situation. But Jacob is doing all of the specs for the Restore New York grant, and really more than anything, that's what we're here to get an update on. And so I guess, Jake, without any further ado, could you sort of tell us where we're at?
Sure. So the project went out to bid a few weeks ago,
We're expecting bids for the removal of the American paper mill site next Wednesday, December 11th. The bids will come in. With that, we worked through project schedule. We're expecting the project to actually begin in March 25 and complete around end of September 2025. So right now, we're soliciting bids from the contractors, and then working, we'll select the contractor hopefully this month, and then we'll have everything in place, starting the paperwork going for contracts and insurance and stuff early next year, with construction starting March 25. And then we also met with, go ahead. I'm sorry. So we also met with the ESD representative. So we have a new project manager with New York State ESD. We met with them last week, and they're getting the project put through to their board to get the approval for the funding. And then we can start working through with ESD to work through progress payments and disbursements and whatnot.
That sounds good.
So what bid, now you went out to bids, was that for, who's the engineers that are doing putting the remediation plan together, or who has done that?
So the county has contracted with us and the development authority to put together plans and specs for the demolition and removal of the site. And we've been working with Barton and Judas on an as-needed basis for any structural shoring plans as required.
Okay.
And then we need to we're working to put together an RFP for an environmental consultant to do project monitoring. Because we do have a variance in place for demolition because the building can't asbestos anymore. The EPA went in and did some work prior, so we're working off those old reports with the building no longer structurally sound, doing further testing inside. So we've been working with Barton and Judas on an as-needed basis with different department labor variance paperwork and any structural plans that we need to protect the river. And we're working to procure an environmental consultant to work through the contractor through construction.
Now that's gonna be for both sides of the river?
Right now, I believe it's the east side of the river is alternate number 1. We split the two sides of the river into base bid and alternates just to make sure that we're within line of our funding. The estimates that were produced as part of the ESD grant application, the funding we got, the estimates that they submitted from were very square foot based. They weren't very detailed.
Sure.
So their budget number showed enough money to do one side of the river. So we added in the other side of the river as an alternate, see what the numbers come back with them and get pricing for that.
So GHD, and John, you might know, GHD Consulting is the consultants for International Paper, who they're on the east side of the river, their landfill buttons right up to that, and there is some, I don't know if there is some coordination that needs to be done there, or?
I don't know. Good question.
Is that in regards to the runoff piece?
In regards if they're gonna do remediation and I mean,
In
there's,
that part, okay.
there is some runoff in that area that, I know because I've been monitoring it for 30 years. It's just something that I think that a coordination error might.
Makes sense.
Are they catching leachate at that site now?
Yes.
It's a fairly significant amount, right, on that leachate runoff.
And there's some outfalls to the river that kind of tie into where, I just think that if you're gonna be disturbing areas there, that it could affect both ways, and if it's.
So who's monitoring, who manages that leachate management at that site now?
International Paper.
Surprised it doesn't go back to Champion.
Actually, it goes into Carthage wastewater plant.
No, I meant the owner of the mill that was championed a million years ago.
Oh, yeah, it goes
Yeah, IP bought all their liabilities.
St. Regis and then
Yeah.
Champion and IP still has the site.
All right, any further discussion?
Sarah, do you have any questions? I did hear back, the mayor of Deferiet was hoping to be able to join us, but he let me know earlier in the week that he couldn't, and I'm sorry to interrupt you real quick, Sarah. And there was another board member that I was half expecting, Paul Smith, but he's been helping and attentive to all the needs here. But Sarah, do you have any questions or anything?
I don't really have any questions. I just glad to be included and be able to report back to Paul and Joe as well. But glad to know that things are moving on the Restore New York, because I know that that's been a concern for the mayor.
Yep. And I will also just throw out real quick that not Jacob, but Thomas will be joining. Is it Thomas that'll be joining?
No, so when the board meeting got moved to the 18th, Tom's on vacation that week, so I'll be at work.
Okay, great. We're going to the Deferiet Village Board meeting to give them an update to their actual board members, which I think is going to be helpful. So, excited about that. We'll have a great time, Jacob.
We have talked, during the rebid process, I did speak with the contractors about, the post office is a big concern. So the contractors, it's on their radar that the post office is a priority once they get the notice to proceed.
Okay.
They've got everything they need as far as site protection, whatever you need to do around it.
That'll be music to Mayor Cook's ears.
It will.
Thank you. I don't know that we have any new business to bring up at this point. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
You too.
Recording stopped.
Let the party begin, right?
We can have a clip.